Hey guys, welcome back to another BioLayne video log. And today we're going to talk about periodization. Now again, as I disclosed a few video logs ago, I don't consider myself a training expert. Alright, I just play in the sandbox of training, and somebody like Dr. Zordos, it's their playground. Okay, but I'm going to try to impart to you some of the things I've learned from some people I consider big time experts. So I want to talk about periodization. Okay. What is periodization? Alright, now I think most of the gurus and coaches out there probably can't even spell periodization, let alone what it means. But essentially it is programmed variability into your training to ensure consistent progression and minimize training plateaus. Okay, now we've already talked about the importance of volume. Okay, so we understand that within a given program, your training volume has to go up over time in order to ensure continued progression. Okay, but how can we best accomplish something like that? All right, and we've also talked about how we get different benefits from different rep ranges in terms of higher reps tend to be able to get you more volume in a shorter period of time, whereas lower reps you get more strength. Even you will produce the same hypertrophy and strength benefits if you get the same amount of volume, but it takes you longer, but you also get more strength with it. So pluses and minuses, and you have to weigh those. But essentially periodization, what you want to do is take advantage of all these different these rep schemes and use them to your advantage. So we're going to talk about kind of the history of periodization, and in that you have linear periodization, which came first, nonlinear periodization, which was kind of the second iteration of that, daily undulating periodization, which we hear a lot about now, and autoregulation, which can be actually used with any of the other three, and we're going to talk about why. So, with that said, we'll get right into it. So now, before I get into it, full disclaimer, if you are a new lifter, okay, there is, the research actually shows that periodization doesn't make a difference for you, okay? And the reason being that your growth and strength response is going to be so strong just to training. Just the fact that you're training at all has such an enormous growth response, newbie gains, bro, that you don't really need to worry about this stuff so much. If you're a beginner, I would focus on just making sure you're getting a decent amount of volume, and focus on learning the movements, learning how to squat right, learning how to deadlift right, learning how to bench press right, learning how to row correctly, learning how to military press correctly, the basics. These are super, super, super important. Will set you up for long-term success. Okay, so with that said, if you've taken care of all those things, you've gotten to kind of past the beginning, the newbie gain stage, the first 6 months of training, periodization can help. So let's talk about the different forms of periodization. First one we're going to talk about, oh yeah baby, the BioLayne wipe-off board. Boom. So the first one we're going to talk about is linear periodization. Okay, and linear periodization is quite simply just different week blocks of training. So for example, you'd go through like your first 4 weeks of training, you might stay within the 12 to 15 rep range. Okay, and you're only going to train in that rep range. And then the next 4 weeks, you would go 8 to 12. And then the next 4 weeks, you would go 4 to 8. Something like that. I mean, these repetitions, again, don't get tied up and married to the rep. This could be the first 4 weeks, you go 8 to 10. Second weeks, you go 6 to 8. And the next block, you go 4 to 6. Or it could be this block you go 20 to 30 reps, this block 10 to 20 reps, and this block 1 to 10 reps. Okay? So don't get tied up. These are just example rep ranges. You can do whatever rep range you want. The key is the variability. Okay? So you're increasing intensity over time here. Alright? Now, this is superior to no periodization whatsoever. Kind of the bro workouts, bro, do 3 sets of 10 and just keep doing 3 sets of 10. Right? This is superior. This will produce superior increases in strength, performance, and hypertrophy. All right? But the problem is for example, these adaptations you've made in the first 4 weeks of training to this rep range Once you get to this rep range of training, you no longer have the benefits of these adaptations. They will kind of dissipate. You're only getting the adaptations in the training block that you're training in, okay? So then when you circle back around to repeat this cycle, you will be once again weaker in this rep range because you have lost those adaptations. So this led to nonlinear periodization, which is kind of like the, for those of you who's ever seen the FAT program, right, the power hypertrophy adaptive training, that is essentially nonlinear periodization, okay? So you would do a first workout, let's just say for squats, okay, your first workout may be in a 10 to 15 rep range, and then your next workout that week will be of squats would be in the 5 to 10 rep range. What's the benefit to that? Well, you get the benefits of undulating your rep schemes, but you also get the benefits of, since you're doing both simultaneously in the same week, you're not going to lose the adaptations from this rep range when you're doing this one. So you get to keep the adaptations of both. All right, so nonlinear periodization has been shown to be superior to linear periodization. Okay, nonlinear is superior to linear. Okay. Now the next phase kind of is DUP. All right, daily undulating periodization. Whereas let's say you had 3 squat workouts in a week. All right. Now this is just easier to show it, but you can still do DUP doing if you were squatting twice a week. Okay, it's just that day 1 and day 2 might be in the first week, then day 3 would be in the second week, and then the next day 1 would also be in the second week. Okay, so you can still do a DUP training even once a week. So this would be like, which I don't recommend, by the way. But you could do week 1 would be the 15 reps, week 2 would be the 10 reps, week 3 would be the 5 reps. That's still undulating periodization. Okay, it's just for whatever frequency you're at. So please don't try to get tired. You can do this 6 days a week. Okay, you're just undulating the rep schemes. So each day you're coming in doing a different rep scheme. Okay, or you can undulate the rep schemes like this. And again, don't get married to these rep schemes. Okay, this could be 6-4-2. It could be 30-20-10. It could be 12-8-4. Okay, don't get married to the rep schemes. It's just about undulating that rep scheme. Now, the other thing you could do is undulate styles of workouts. Okay, you could do hypertrophy, strength, power. Okay, so with hypertrophy, strength, power, so basically you'd be doing like I don't want to say hypertrophy because you can still get benefit. You can still get hypertrophy from doing low reps. Okay, but we'd be talking about a bodybuilding style rep range of like 8 to 15 reps. Okay, so you do hypertrophy. Then if you did strength after, okay, you would do like maybe 2 to 5 reps. And then if you did power, you might do 1 to 3 reps with a lower percentage, but you're moving the weight fast. Okay, so that's power, is moving weight quickly. All right. Now I want to talk about something Dr. Zorlo says. This is the traditional way this is set up. Okay, it's called HSP. Okay, but what happens when you train for hypertrophy? Right? It's really, really difficult. You produce a lot of muscle damage and you're sore. Well, do you want that when the next time you're coming in, you're going to be doing strength and trying to go, for max weights? So what Dr. Zordos has done is he actually reverses power and strength. Okay? So he'll put a power after hypertrophy, all right, and then put strength after power. Why? Because while you may be sore here, you could still come in and do, 6 sets of 3 with 65% of your 1 rep max for speed on a power day, even if you were sore. And that will give you some active recovery, and so by the time you come in to do your strength day on day 3, again, we're switching these, you will be better recovered. So his program, or what he would recommend, would look something more like this. Give me a second. Okay, so you do hypertrophy, power, strength. Okay, and I've utilized that program. Okay, but we also have to keep in mind the law of specificity. All right, so the law of specificity is specific for what we're doing. If you're a bodybuilder, does it make sense to have a 1-to-1-to-1 ratio of these. It might not. Okay, you might be better off going hypertrophy, power, hypertrophy, strength, hypertrophy, power, hypertrophy, strength. So you're doing 2 hypertrophy sessions for every 1 power and strength session you do. Okay, Dr. Zordos has talked about that. It might be 3-to-1, 3-to-1-to-1. Okay, it might be 3-to-2-to-1. Okay, we don't know. But the point is I believe they have shown that, you know, if you want to be specific, doing a 2-to-1-to-1 is probably better than a 1-to-1-to-1. Okay. So if you're a power lifter, maybe you're going to do hypertrophy, power, strength, hypertrophy, strength, hypertrophy, power. I'm sorry. So scratch that. Maybe you do strength, hypertrophy, strength, power, strength, hypertrophy, strength, power, strength, hypertrophy, strength, power. So you're being specific for what you want to do. Okay, like I said, if you're a bodybuilder, maybe you do hypertrophy, power, hypertrophy, strength, hypertrophy, power, hypertrophy, strength. A 2-to-1-to-1 ratio. Okay? So, and I'll show you a little bit later what a training block setup of that might look like for somebody who trains a lift 2 or 3 times a week. Okay? Now let's talk about autoregulation periodization. Okay? And actually autoregulation can be used with any of the other 3, really. So you don't really have set workouts. Okay? You have set workouts for the week. So it'll say, okay, one day you're going to do this. So, like for example, this. All right, let's say we had a hypertrophy, strength, power, or hypertrophy, power, strength workout. Okay, you don't have to do them in any order. Okay, let's say you go in and the day you're supposed to do strength, you feel like absolute crap and you're not performing well because you're not going to perform your best every single time. Autoregulation allows you some variability. Okay, so the way autoregulation works is you just get all your volume in for the week, all right? And you're going to test on each day you go in, all right? What kind of test? Well, this is very difficult because most people can't do this correctly, but we call it a conservative 1-rep max, okay? That's no huge psych up, just walk up to the bar, whatever you can do, okay? Whatever you can just go up and do. Okay, so for me, I have a 650 squat. That might only be like 600 pounds, okay? And then you're going to base your entire workout off that. So let's say I go in and my 1-rep max or my conservative max is really crappy that day. Well, instead of doing my strength workout I had planned, maybe I should just do my power workout, right? And then maybe the next time I go in, my 1-rep max, I feel good, I hit 610. Okay, cool, I can do my strength workout, okay? Or you can do it where you have a setup and you say, okay, I'm going to go in, do a conservative max, and then I'm going to do 90% of that for sets of 2 or sets of 3. Or I'm going to do 80% of that for sets of 4 or 5. Okay, again, don't get caught up in hard numbers. These are just concepts for you guys. All right, so it auto-regulates because let's say I go in and I only hit, you know, again, my best all-time squat is 600. Let's say I only hit 585. I'm sore, I'm tired, I'm overreached. Well, I only hit 585, and now I'm going to do, you know, 90% of that. Well, 90% of 585 is a lot less than what I'm used to working with for 90%. Okay? It's actually going to be like active recovery for me. It's not a true 90% for me. It's a true 90% for that day. Okay? So I do that, and now what happens? Well, I'm likely to recover a little bit more, and the next time I go in, I'm likely to perform better, and my 1-rep max will go up. Okay? So it auto-regulates because on days you feel worse, you don't perform as well, and so you do less total training volume and weight. On days you feel better, you're able to you do more weight and you do more volume because you're testing it, you're auto-regulating it. I really only recommend that for advanced lifters, because even I have difficulty saying, you know, pulling my ego out of it and saying, okay, what can I really do today? Not what do I want to do today, but what can I really do today? So that's kind of an example of those different rep ranges. Now I'm going to give you an example of how to set up kind of a daily undulating block. Okay, so now we're going to give an example of the daily undulating periodization we showed before was, you know, doing something 3 days a week. Let's say, again, squats, because I like squats. So doing like squats 3 days a week. Well, what if you're only doing it twice a week? Can you still do daily undulating periodization? Absolutely. So let me show you. Okay, so we talked about, you know, possibly incorporating things to be specific for what you want to do. So let's say you're a bodybuilder focused on hypertrophy, okay? Well, maybe day 1 that you're doing you're doing squats twice a week, you do hypertrophy. Day 2, you do power. Okay, so Monday you do hypertrophy style workout, Thursday you do power. Then next week, hypertrophy Monday, strength Thursday. Then hypertrophy Monday, power Thursday. Hypertrophy Monday, strength Thursday. And this is a 4-week training block. Okay, so you're doing that 2-to-1-to-1 ratio. Okay, so there's 4 hypertrophy sessions, there's 2 strength and power sessions. Okay, so you're still getting the benefits of each. All right. Now, you could actually auto-regulate this if you wanted. Okay, let's say you come in on your strength day and you feel like crap. You say, oh, you know what, you're not feeling it. Okay, let's push it back. Let's do it here when we feel better, maybe. Okay, maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe if you're only squatting twice a week, you probably should be adapted to the point where it's not going to matter that much. But I'm just showing you an example. Okay, maybe you come in and you've had a long day. You've been out working all day more than you usually would or something. Okay, well, no big deal. Take this, make it a hypertrophy workout or a power workout. Move the strength workout back here. Do the hypertrophy workout here. Do strength again, and then hypertrophy. Okay, so you still had 2 power, 2 strength sessions. You just changed the order. Okay, to suit your autoregulation needs. Okay. Now again, this is why I don't necessarily recommend this for people who aren't experienced with training, okay, or with knowing their bodies and knowing how they feel, because autoregulation can be very difficult to kind of know. Am I actually going to perform worse, or am I just mentally feeling tired? Okay. Now let's show you how we'd set it up for 3 times a week. So I try to show that on camera, but we're just going to have to show it because trying to write upside down is difficult, apparently, for me. So let's say we're squatting Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all right, and we want to do our 2-to-1-to-1 ratio we kind of talked about with daily undulating periodization. Okay, so you could do hypertrophy, power, hypertrophy, strength, hypertrophy, power, hypertrophy, strength, hypertrophy, power, hypertrophy, strength. Okay, so we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hypertrophy sessions for 1, 2, 3 strength sessions and 1, 2, 3 power sessions. 2-to-1-to-1 ratio. Okay? Cool. Now let's show it in terms of undulating rep schemes. Okay? Let's take a look at somebody who's pretty interested in kind of both hypertrophy and strength. Okay, I don't know, like myself. Alright, what you guys have to keep in mind is all this stuff is modular. Alright, like Dr. Zordo says, don't get caught up in rep schemes, set schemes, all those sorts of things. You will be, if you're looking for the perfect rep scheme or whatever it is, you're going to be very disappointed by this. Okay, like if you do that. You're asking the wrong question. You should be looking for concepts of training that you can set up to improve over time and add volume over time. Okay, so this might be an example of undulating rep schemes. Okay, so just each week you're doing squats 3 times a week, 10-7-4, or 8-6-4, or 6-4-2, or however you want to do it, right? And so a lot of times what we do is this would be like 3 sets of 10, 4 sets of 7, or sorry, 3 sets of 10, like 5 sets of 7, and 7 sets of 4. Okay? And then what you could do is on these days is put a plus set in. Okay? So maybe if you're doing 7, like for example for me, so this is actually kind of similar to what a training block I would do. So 3 sets of 10, 5 sets of 7, 7 sets of 4. So on I do 7 sets of 4, but on my last set, my 7th set, I would do as many as I could. Okay? As many as I can. Now I'm getting the benefits of failure and volume, like we talked about in a video log a few back. Okay? The other thing this does is allows me to test how well I'm doing. Am I going up? Am I going down? Am I overreached? So maybe I'll get 7 reps here. Okay? And maybe this week I get 6, I'm still kind of adapting or whatever, or 5. And next week I get 7 again, and then maybe I get, 8. Okay? So you can see shock, adaptation, progression. Okay? You're seeing that over time. Another way to do it, or you could incorporate this as well, you could still do plus sets, but each week, maybe you, to each of these weights, you add 5 pounds. Okay? So you can do all those things. There's always that option. So, again, this isn't meant to be an end-all, be-all video, but I wanted to show you guys some different options for how to incorporate periodization into your training. And I encourage you to read up on it and learn more. But again, don't look for a magic set rep scheme. Understand that volume has to increase over time, and understand that you want to set up a scientifically based training block. If you're looking for coaches, I highly might recommend Dr. Zordos, highly recommend Ben Escrow, and the people on our approved list of coaches to set you up with something as a properly periodized program. Thanks guys, hope you all have a great one.